I got it. Okay, I see the counter running this time, so I'm gonna I'm gonna guess that everything's running. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm 7. I don't know if that counts or not. This is speech number 2. No, speech number 3. Is that right? Speech number 3. Very good. Okay, yeah, I can see. All right, good. Um, anyway, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies, I should say. Pleasure being here with you today. Can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming out, helping me with this project. My name is Sean. I'm a fellow student, and I'm also a healthcare activist. I've been known to, get arrested from time to time, just when the cause is right. And I'll tell you, I'm tempted to go get myself arrested again if we could fix this problem. The problem that we have is, if you can imagine what it would be like if you're halfway into your career and everything is going well, and then all of a sudden you have a heart attack, what would happen to you? If you get to the hospital in time, you're probably going to survive. A lot of people have heart attacks and they survive. But when you get out, you're going to have one heck of a bill. And even if you've got insurance, there's no guarantee that your professional life is not going to be over. And all of this education that you worked for so hard, you're not going to be able to use it. This too often happens all the time. So, the thing is this seems to be a uniquely American problem. What would happen to you if you got sick, you had a heart attack or an accident or whatever? What's going to happen to you? Well, a lot of that really depends on what country that you're in. This chart here is kind of an oversimplification, but it illustrates how many people file for medical bankruptcy in various countries. So you see, if you lived in Britain and this happened to you, then most likely nothing's going to happen to you. You just get well and you go on about your business. You never see a medical bill. You never see a hospital bill, a doctor bill, or whatever. The same thing would happen if you were in France or Japan or Germany or Canada or Netherlands, Switzerland, any of those rich, highly developed countries of Europe or Australia or Austria or a whole list of other countries which I don't have on me right now, or even Cuba. Yes, Cuba. Now, the Castro regime down there, they only spend about $300 per year per person on health care. But there is never any Cubans that have to declare bankruptcy over medical bills because there simply are no medical bills. Now, you might say, well, yeah, but that's Cuba. How sophisticated could the medical system be in Cuba, especially compared to America, where we have all the best and brightest doctors and the cleanest hospitals and the latest advances in technology? Well, you would be surprised if you're thinking that, yes, of course we pay a little bit of more money out of our pocket, but we're getting some sort of a value. Well, you might be interested in this, in what happens next. This chart kind of shows us how we are doing compared to other countries. And in this graph, you can see that on the x-axis, you see the average expenditure. X-axis here, you see the average expenditure per person. And on the y-axis, you see the country's life expectancy. That's this up here. So if the quality of the nation's healthcare system can be judged by life expectancy, well, then Cuba is doing pretty well because they are beating our average life expectancy, and they're doing so at 5% of the cost. You may also notice this statistical outlier way over here, which I've got a big red arrow pointing at it. Well, that's us. And this chart hopefully is going to help to illustrate just how far from the norm that America is in terms of our commitment to taking care of our people. Now the y-axis on this chart here doesn't represent life expectancy. It shows a healthy life expectancy because there's more than just being alive. There's, being healthy is a good part of this as well. So this is the average age of the healthy segment of each population. And once again, the statistical outlier is this big green dot way over here. That is America. Now, if you have a good look at the size of these bubbles, what they represent is a percentage share of the health expenditures that come from private sources. That's either out of your pocket or out of your health insurance pocket, which I guess technically is out of your pocket since you're paying premiums. As American health consumers, we're paying more money out of our pocket than any other country, practically any other country in the world. But are we really getting our money's worth? And that is a good question. Well, here is the same chart with the same scale, but this time this is tracking infant mortality rates expressed as deaths per 1,000 live births. I know that's a lot to take in, especially since this is happening in the richest country in the history of the world. It's absolutely shameful. The OECD is the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. And the OECD countries that you see here are listed with the highest gross domestic product that is earmarked for healthcare. And as you can see, America leads the pack, and they have for quite some time, as paying the most percentage of our gross national product towards healthcare. So if you follow conventional wisdom, you might be thinking, well, we pay the most money for healthcare, we should be getting the best results. Yet out of all the countries in this graph, America stands alone as being the only country with a healthcare system in crisis. So what is the problem? Why is overpriced lack of healthcare such a uniquely and ubiquitous American problem? Well, I can't claim to have all the answers. All I have is a personal opinion, which I really shouldn't share because, after all, this is supposed to be an informative speech, not a persuasive speech. But you know what? I can't resist doing this. Here's our problem right here, or at least a humorous representation of it. It's because we have the wrong people making decisions on our healthcare with the wrong motivations. And so I don't really know what the answer to this is going to be, but whatever the answer is, it should be centered around democracy. You see, because common sense is not immoral, and morality is not partisan, and democracy is not a spectator sport. Some assembly is required. Sometimes you got to go to jail or something, to get some people's attention. So to conclude, I believe that each of us have a responsibility to each other to let our opinions be informed by these facts. Then and only then can we have a national discussion about this, a discussion which should be rational and should be narrowly focused on these questions. Is this situation acceptable? Well, our system of American values allow health care for all as a basic human right, as they do in other countries. Or if we were to all collectively look into our hearts and find that we just don't have the compassion to take that kind of care of each other, then fine, let's ask the other question. As healthcare consumers, are we okay with paying the most and getting the least? Because either way, we must stop talking past each other, because so far, that's all that everybody's done, and it has gotten us nowhere. So thank you all. Great, folks.
Okay,
I'm going to just upload
so
all
I finished it up on mine. So if you
Did I?
this here in a
9 minutes. Okay. Oh, by the way, everybody's still here. Yeah, see that? I tried to keep it under.